Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator Weekly Overlook. Today I'll be covering the weather for the week of November 12th until November 19th of 2023. So let's start off with our WPC graphics and our surface fronts and surface pressure systems, so we can get an idea of where the majority of our activity is expected to be this week. So, starting off with Sunday and Monday, we are expected to see a cold front impact the coastal regions of the northwestern United States, and that's going to be leading to some rainfall for the eastern half of the United States, mainly from Friday into Saturday and possibly Sunday, but it doesn't really look like it's going to do all that much Sunday because it's going to be out in the Atlantic Ocean. We are also expected to see a low pressure system, a very weak low pressure trough that's kind of just going to ride the Gulf Coast states over the next couple of days, pretty much for the entire week, leading to some general thunderstorms, some widespread rain showers, and the threat for some flash flooding. And that low pressure system that we typically see west off the coast of Washington or Oregon, that leads to tons of rain for those mentioned states. That's going to be shifting south this week and mostly impacting the California area, leading to quite a bit of rain for the vast majority this week, mainly starting around Tuesday and continuing until around Saturday or Sunday. And this isn't really something that we're going to be going over in this forecast. Is going to be something more so for the Wednesday update. But we could potentially see the threat of a very low threat for severe thunderstorms, or as that's what it seems this far out for the Central Plains on either Sunday or Monday. But again, that's going to be something for the Wednesday update. So if you have any concerns about that threat for some weak severe thunderstorms, possibly on Sunday or Monday in the Central Plains, I highly suggest you check out the Wednesday update, which will be posted on Wednesday, as you could have guessed. Um, so that's about it as far as where we are expected to see the majority of our activity this week. But we can take a look at some of these other graphics that the SBC has, like the excessive rainfall forecast. And as I was mentioning, that low pressure system that we are expected to see ride the Gulf Coast states is expected to be leading to a threat for flash flooding. So far, it's more of an isolated threat for flash flooding, but with these graphics, these are definitely subject to change over time. So if you are concerned about any threat for flash flooding in any of the affected areas, then do keep in mind that these outlooks are definitely subject to change. Um, and there is going to be a threat for some of the Gulf Coast states for pretty much the entire 5 days, which ends on Friday of November 17th. And then on Friday, we are also expected to see a threat for isolated flash flooding for California there with some of those rain showers along California. Now let's take a look at our winter weather outlook and our forecasts for heavy snow. Overall, we aren't really expected to see anything too crazy as far as heavy snow, but we are expected to have some snow this week, with some snow being mostly isolated to the areas that you would expect, mainly across the Rocky Mountains area, but nothing really too notable. Taking a look at our weather model, starting off with our 500 millibars like we usually do. Starting off with the low pressure system that we are expected to see riding the Gulf Coast states. This is going to be a fairly weak low pressure system, and we aren't really expected to see any instability to really support a threat for severe thunderstorms. But again, we are expected to see that threat for some widespread rain showers and some general thunderstorms with that. And this is going to be absorbed into the low pressure trough associated with the cold front that is expected to impact mainly on Friday into Sunday. And then you can see, as I was mentioning previously, that low pressure system that we kind of see off the coast of Washington or Oregon out in the Pacific Ocean is expected to be making a shift southward and impacting the California region this week. and that is going to advect a cold front into the Rocky Mountains, the southern Rocky Mountains, and arriving into the Central Plains around sometime around Sunday into Monday, potentially leading to a low end threat for severe thunderstorms on again Sunday or Monday. But again, there's going to be more information on that on the Wednesday update if you are concerned about that. And that's really about it as far as 500 millibars. Now let's go over the when and where you should be able to see our rainfall this week. Starting off that low pressure system that we are expected to see mainly right along the Gulf Coast states. This is expected to be dropping rainfall mostly for the entire week up into probably Friday when it does weaken down significantly and get absorbed by that cold front. But there is going to be a little bit of lingering showers for that area, but overall on Friday it should definitely die down significantly. And speaking of that cold front, let's take a look at the timing as far as that cold front. We are expected to see it enter the Central Plains in North Dakota around the 16th and rapidly move eastward and organize across the eastern United States where we have better moisture and a little bit better surface instability, but overall most unstable cape isn't expected to be there. We are not expected to see all that much overall instability, and that's going to be leading to widespread showers for the eastern United States, anywhere from Friday on until Saturday, and mainly exiting out into Atlantic Ocean around Sunday. And let's take a look at the rainfall for California that we are expected to see this week. You can see that rainfall is expected to begin mainly around the 14th, which is Tuesday, and kind of remain and up until the 19th, kind of as that cold front advex across the southern Rocky Mountains and arrives in the Central Plains. And again, as you can see on the 18th and the 19th, there's pretty much no rainfall ongoing for those dates. So we are expected to see a break in the rainfall right around the very end of the week for those areas. Taking a look at our temperatures for this week, mainly looking at the impacts from this cold front. We are expected to see temperatures that are going to be dropping, not significantly, but it is going to get fairly chilly, especially at night for the areas affected, which is going to be mainly the eastern United States, the northern Central Plains and northern Midwest, as well as the New England area. Some areas in the very far north, like the northern Ohio River Valley, mainly Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, possibly North Dakota, as well as the New England area, could potentially see temperatures that are going to be below freezing because of this cold front. And more notably, the New England area is expected to have at least one area of below freezing temperatures, indicated by GFS models, for pretty much the entire week. Mostly at night. In the day, we aren't really expected to see any below freezing temperatures, but at night, we are expected to see at least one area that is going to be seeing below freezing temperatures in the New England area. That's going to be amplified mostly towards the beginning of the week and then also towards the end of the week when we have that cold front blow through. And as for the Central Plains, which isn't really expected to take a direct hit from this cold front, but it is going to be getting a little bit colder, has been fairly warm across the Central Plains, and that is due to the anomalously strong return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. We are expected to see it become a little bit colder across that area, potentially chilly in some regions, but overall it is expected to stay fairly warm with a little bit of a temperature drop across the Central Plains. Taking a look at our dew points, I want to be focusing on the return of moisture to the Central Plains this week, which is pretty much going to be fairly non-existent. We are expected to see some moisture in the Central Plains and a little bit of moisture return, but because of that low pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico, sorry, I turned on buoys for a second because I was checking something out. But that flow of air, as you can see, it kind of poses a little bit of an issue because of this the northerly push, which pushes air south instead of pulling air north out of the Gulf of Mexico, which is expected to inhibit our return flow to the Central Plains. And overall lead to dew points are going to be fairly weak, mainly staying around the 40s. And this shouldn't really lead to all that much instability, and we shouldn't really see all that much instability to really support a threat for severe thunderstorms. But overall, we aren't really expected to see all that much activity in this area regardless. So taking a look at our total precipitation outlooks, we're going to be mainly focusing on where we should see the majority of our rain. So starting off with where we are expected to see the vast majority of our rainfall this week, that's going to be along the Gulf Coast states associated with that low pressure system that's going to be riding along the coast. And models are indicating that we could potentially see up to 14 inches by the very end of this week for a very small portion of Florida. However, this doesn't take into account rainfall seeping into the soil or runoff into areas. That's just the amount of rainfall that we are expected to see total by the end of this week. And sorry, I don't actually have it on the 19th, but now I do. So we aren't expected to see 14 inches just suddenly drop out of the sky in some small area of Florida, but we are expected to see quite a bit of rainfall for that portion of Florida. And we are expected to see a ton of rain for the eastern United States up into the New England corridor associated with that cold front that we are expected to see impact the United States this week, potentially bringing up to 1 to 2 inches of rain for some areas in the Atlantic Basin, and that we are expected to see some rainfall up along the western coast of the United States. Further north, we are expected to see that rainfall more so towards the beginning of the week, with the very beginning of that cold front, and then along California with that low pressure system that's just going to linger across the Pacific Ocean, and that is going to infect a cold front into the Rocky Mountains, which is going to be leading to some isolated rain showers for some of the Rocky Mountains areas. Taking a look at our total snowfall accumulation, overall, as I was mentioning previously towards the beginning of the video, we aren't expected to see anything too notable as far as snowfall this week, but the areas that we are expected to see snow this week is going to be some areas in the Rocky Mountains, mainly across some portions of Utah and the Rockies in Colorado, as well as some areas of Montana, as well as Idaho, a very small portion of Oregon up into Washington, some of the more mountainous areas in Washington, as well as potentially some snow that could be extending down into California. And then some models are indicating that associated with that cold front, we could potentially see some snowfall in the north for some areas of the New England area. However, as far as the New England area, I'm not really too sure about because the WPC wasn't really forecasting all that much of a threat for snowfall for the New England area, but we may be able to see maybe a little bit of snow for the New England area indicated by our GFS models, but this isn't entirely set in stone. Taking a look at our supercell composite, I am going to be briefly touching on the possible threat for some weak severe thunderstorms for the Central Plains on the 19th or 20th. And a very good indicator that we can use, a very good model that we can use to potentially see where we may be able to see some severe thunderstorms is our supercell composite, and this does take into account our instability, our dew points, our heating, and all that leads into our threat for severe thunderstorms. And again, as I was mentioning, on the 19th and 20th, there is a little area, very weak recognition, mostly staying below 2 across the Central Plains, which could be leading or indicating a very low end threat for severe thunderstorms across the Central Plains for the 19th and 20th. So that's just something to really keep in mind. And then while I'm here, I'm going to be touching on this little area of development in the Southern Caribbean here, south of the island chain. This is expected to develop into a tropical storm, And models previously, a while ago, were indicating this impacting Florida. However, with the newest model runs, the most recent model runs for the most recent couple of days, has been indicating that this is mostly just going to stay out to sea, mostly going northeast, and shouldn't really come anywhere close to the United States or pose a threat to the United States. So that area of tropical development should mostly stay clear from the U.S. Taking a look at our climatology outlook, starting off with our temperature outlooks, and then we'll move on to precipitation. I'm not gonna really go in depth all that much on this because I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know all that much about climatology outlooks just yet, but I will definitely touch on them and let you interpret what they mean if you do know what they mean. So, we do have two areas where we could potentially see an above average threat for, or sorry, temperatures that are going to be above average for the deep south for Florida here, as well as Georgia and Alabama, as well as an area for the Midwest, where we have two areas of a 60% chance of temperatures being above normal, and then an area for the western United States coast where we could see up to a 40% chance of temperatures being above normal. And then we have a very, very small area of the threat for temperatures being below normal for Southern California into southwestern Arizona with a 33% chance of temperatures being below normal. And then for a very large portion of the Rocky Mountains and up into the Pacific Northwestern coast, mainly in Oregon and Washington, we are expected to see temperatures that are going to be mainly remaining around normal. Now let's move on to our precipitation outlooks for climatology. And it does seem like the vast majority of the United States is expected to see an above average threat for precipitation, except for a couple areas like the far western United States, for some parts of Oregon and California, as well as the very southern tip of Texas. But we are expected to see up to a 60% chance of precipitation being above normal for the Texas Panhandle into the Oklahoma Panhandle and southwestern Kansas. Now that I've told you the weather, please go to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. And if you notice anything might have been wrong with this forecast, or you would like to make a suggestion or leave a question, please leave a comment. I do read them, however, I may get to them a little late. Two other channels that I highly suggest you check out are One Nation Weather and Weather Watcher if you are interested in more weather content. They are also amazing at what they do. And hopefully I should be able to see you guys tomorrow on Wednesday with a Wednesday update.